We've been taught to measure intelligence with a single number, the IQ score. These traditional tests might predict how well someone will do in school, but do they truly capture the vast spectrum of human talent? Think about it. A standard IQ test reduces our incredible mental abilities to one score, often overlooking the creative genius of an artist, the intricate navigation skills of a sailor, or the empathetic understanding of a counselor. This narrow view of intelligence has shaped our educational systems, and even how society judges individuals. But what if there's more to intelligence than just what these tests measure? Challenging this traditional view, the theory of multiple intelligences suggests a broader spectrum of human capabilities, beyond just academic metrics. It sparks a much-needed rethinking of how we assess and celebrate human potential. It invites us to look beyond the classroom to the diverse tapestry of human skills found across the globe. I don't have any sponsors, so if you'd like to support my work, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you're interested, you can also use the Audible free trial link or the Amazon book link in the description. Every use helps me keep creating content. Your support truly means a lot. Let's travel the world for a moment. In the vast Pacific, young sailors learn to navigate by the stars, mastering a complex system of celestial observation. Their skills are a testament to a profound spatial intelligence, honed over generations. Elsewhere, in communities steeped in ancient traditions, you'll find youth memorizing extensive sacred texts, demonstrating incredible linguistic and memory abilities. These aren't just isolated talents. They're examples of how different cultures nurture and value diverse forms of intelligence. From the intricate craftsmanship of African artisans to the remarkable survival skills of indigenous peoples in the Amazon, these examples highlight a crucial point. Conventional intelligence tests often fail to recognize the richness of cultural and contextual knowledge. By observing and understanding these diverse competencies, we can reshape our understanding of intelligence to be more inclusive, adaptable, and truly reflective of the human experience. We can begin to appreciate the unique insights and life skills that traditional IQ tests tend to overlook. So how do we move forward? How can we truly grasp the full scope of human intelligence? We need a new framework, one that respects the diversity of intellectual abilities. This means moving beyond the one-dimensional evaluations that have dominated our educational systems for far too long. Imagine a framework that acknowledges multiple paths to knowledge and understanding. A framework that recognizes that intelligence isn't just about acing a test, but about navigating the complexities of life in all its forms. This new perspective would have a profound impact on education. It encourages us to create new teaching methods, fostering learning environments where different kinds of intelligence are nurtured and allowed to flourish. Think of classrooms where students are not just memorizing facts, but are actively engaged in projects that tap into their unique talents, whether they be musical, spatial, linguistic, or kinesthetic. This isn't just about making learning more fun. It's about creating a more effective and equitable educational system that truly prepares students for the challenges and opportunities of the real world. It is about aligning educational practices with the unique strengths of each individual. This idea of multiple intelligences might seem revolutionary, but the concept of intellectual diversity has deep roots. Western civilization has long revered intellectual powers. Think of the philosophical giants like Socrates and Descartes, who championed reason and knowledge. However, this emphasis on reason often overshadowed other human qualities, such as feeling, faith, and creativity. Throughout history, there have been debates about the true nature of intellect. Some argued for a single, unified intelligence, while others believed in multiple mental faculties. These historical discussions, though varied, show us that intelligence cannot be neatly boxed into a single definition. This broader perspective urges us to revisit and expand our understanding, viewing intelligence as a rich tapestry rather than a single thread. This debate about the nature of intelligence has continued within the field of psychology. On one side, you have the proponents of the G factor, a general intelligence that underlies all mental abilities. This is the traditional view, closely tied to IQ testing. On the other side, you have those who argue for diverse, independent mental abilities. Multiple intelligences theory aligns with this latter view. It proposes that the mind is more like a complex ecosystem of interwoven capabilities rather than a single dominant power. By acknowledging this pluralism, we can better appreciate and cultivate specific intellectual talents, whether they be logical, linguistic, spatial, or kinesthetic. This isn't just an academic debate. It has real-world implications for how we identify and nurture talent. So what does this all mean for education? Recognizing and understanding diverse intelligences can revolutionize the way we teach and learn. Imagine classrooms where students' unique intellectual profiles are identified and nurtured. By recognizing these individual strengths, educators can craft personalized learning experiences that play to those strengths, making learning more engaging and effective. For instance, a student with strong spatial intelligence might thrive in a geometry class that uses hands-on model building, while a student with strong linguistic intelligence might excel in creative writing workshops. Early identification of these talents allows us to channel resources into developing them, leading to enhanced educational outcomes. Moreover, tailored educational strategies can assist those with atypical or uneven intelligence profiles, offering targeted support to help all learners shine. This approach prepares students not just for academic achievement, but also for real-world success, where diverse skills are increasingly valued. It's about creating an educational system that celebrates the full spectrum of human potential. This isn't just a concept for one particular educational system. Encouraging a global dialogue on multiple intelligences can spark innovation in education across cultural boundaries. By exploring how different societies nurture intelligence, we can gather insights for developing more effective teaching methodologies worldwide. For example, some cultures have rich traditions of oral storytelling, which could be integrated into language arts curricula. Others emphasize hands-on learning through apprenticeships, which could inspire new approaches to vocational training. With the right framework, emphasizing cross-cultural learning and adaptation, educators and policymakers can create universally applicable practices that respect cultural diversity in learning. This promotes a richer, more adaptable educational landscape, preparing students for a complex, interconnected world. Imagine a future where educational best practices are shared and adapted globally, creating a truly international exchange of knowledge and expertise in nurturing diverse talents. To understand how we arrived at these modern ideas about intelligence, let's take a step back in time. In the late 18th century, Franz Joseph Gall made a rather intriguing observation. He noticed that certain mental traits seemed linked to particular head shapes. This led to the development of phrenology, a now discredited belief that differences in the skull reflected variations in brain function. While we now know that brain size and shape don't directly correlate with intelligence, Gall's ideas were groundbreaking for their time. Despite its flaws, phrenology gained popularity due to its simple, appealing doctrine. It suggested that specific brain areas controlled distinct mental capacities. This concept, though not entirely accurate, sparked further exploration into the relationship between the brain and behavior. These early theories about the brain's role in behavior date back centuries. Ancient thinkers like Pythagoras, Plato, and Aristotle each had their own unique ideas about the mind's location and essence. While their theories differed, they all contributed to the ongoing quest to understand the human mind. In the latter half of the 19th century, psychology began to establish itself as a distinct science. Pioneers like Wilhelm Wundt in Germany and William James in America sought to move psychology away from its philosophical roots, focusing instead on empirical observation and experimentation. As this new discipline explored the laws governing memory, perception, and attention, it laid the foundation for later studies on intelligence. A major development in this era was the rise of intelligence testing. Sir Francis Galton, inspired by Darwin's work on evolution, pioneered statistical methods to rank intelligence and professional accomplishment. Building on these ideas, Alfred Binet and Theodore Simon created standardized tests to evaluate children's readiness for school. The enthusiasm for intelligence testing surged, as these assessments promised to identify aptitudes and guide educational placement. However, over time, scholars recognize limitations, such as cultural biases in tests and their predictive power being largely confined to academic success. The emergence of IQ tests sparked intense debates about the very nature of intelligence. One of the central figures in this debate was Charles Spearman, who championed the concept of a general intelligence, or G factor, which he believed underlies all cognitive abilities. In contrast, L.L. Thurstone argued for multiple independent mental faculties, suggesting a less unified approach to intelligence. He proposed that intelligence is comprised of distinct abilities, such as verbal comprehension, spatial visualization, and numerical ability. Despite extensive analyses and the use of statistical methods to support both views, neither perspective gained definitive dominance. These debates highlight the fact that intelligence is multifaceted and complex. The philosophical framing of the questions surrounding intelligence continues to influence how we assess cognitive competencies today. It raises fundamental questions about whether intelligence is a single, overarching ability or a collection of distinct, specialized skills. Jean Piaget introduced a revolutionary perspective on intelligence, emphasizing cognitive development through distinct stages. Rather than focusing solely on whether children got the answers right on tests, he examined the reasoning they used in problem solving. Piaget's model illustrated how children's thinking evolves from the sensory-motor stage in infancy, where they learn through direct interaction with the world, to the formal operational stage in adolescence, where they develop abstract reasoning abilities. His stages, including sensory-motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational, highlight a structured cognitive growth process. Despite its influence, Piaget's theory faced criticisms for its rigidity and its focus primarily on Western contexts. Researchers found that cognitive abilities often develop more fluidly than his stages suggest. Nevertheless, Piaget's emphasis on development and reasoning continues to shape educational approaches, particularly in early childhood education. By the latter 20th century, a new perspective emerged in psychology: the information processing approach. This perspective likened human cognition to the operations of a computer, focusing on how individuals process information, solve problems, and make decisions. This approach emphasized real-time cognitive processes, diverging from Piaget's stage-based model. Researchers aimed to detail the specific steps involved in thinking, even attempting to simulate human thought on computers. While offering a dynamic view of cognitive functioning, the information processing approach also faced criticism. It often remained disconnected from the biological realities of the brain and lacked a coherent theory unifying varied problem-solving strategies. Despite these issues, it revived interest in the mechanisms of cognition and redefined psychological investigations into how humans process information, use symbol systems, and exhibit cognitive diversity. In response to the limitations of previous theories, an alternative viewpoint emerged, focusing on human symbolic capacities. Scholars like Ernst Cassirer and Suzanne Langer emphasize the crucial role of symbolic systems, language, music, art, in shaping cognition. This perspective proposed exploring diverse cognitive domains beyond conventional logical mathematical models, encompassing different cultures and unique skills. It recognized that cognitive development could vary widely across individuals and cultural contexts, challenging the notion of a singular developmental path. For example, a child learning to play a musical instrument is not just acquiring a skill, they're engaging with a complex symbolic system that has its own unique rules and structures. Similarly, learning a new language involves more than just memorizing vocabulary. It's about understanding the nuances of grammar, syntax, and cultural context. By examining symbolic use within specific domains, this approach seeks to broaden our understanding of human intelligence, emphasizing creativity and cultural diversity in cognitive studies. The study of prodigies, individuals with exceptional abilities in specific domains, offers further insights into cognitive development. Their remarkable skills highlight how intelligence can manifest uniquely within different symbolic systems, often diverging significantly from traditional developmental models. For instance, a musical prodigy might demonstrate an extraordinary ability to play complex pieces at a very young age, far surpassing their peers. These exceptional cases challenge the idea of uniform development, showcasing unusual patterns of growth aided by inherent talents, cultural factors, and systematic nurturing. This exploration underscores the importance of environmental influences and cultural contexts in intellectual achievement. It suggests that intelligence is not solely an individual trait determined by genetics, but a complex interplay between innate capabilities and societal frameworks. Different cultures value and nurture different skills. In some societies, musical talent might be highly prized and actively cultivated from a young age. In others, mathematical or spatial abilities might be more emphasized. This highlights the dynamic interaction between our biological predispositions, personal inclinations, and the cultural environments we inhabit. Human development showcases remarkable plasticity, especially in early life stages. This means that our intellectual capacities are not strictly preordained, but can be shaped by various interventions. Contrary to the belief that development is a rigid, predetermined process, there's significant flexibility, particularly in the early years. This biological elasticity implies that proper educational practices, applied at critical periods, can enhance intelligence. This notion challenges us to explore which types and timings of interventions could optimally unlock intellectual potential. Essentially, while genetics lays down the blueprint, environmental interactions sculpt these capabilities. Think of the brain as a constantly evolving network of connections. Early experiences, learning opportunities, and even nutrition can influence the formation and strengthening of these connections. This grants humans a unique capacity for growth and adaptability, shaping the full spectrum of human intelligence. Human intelligence isn't a single entity, but rather a diverse collection of specialized capacities. Some intellectual functions appear to be general purpose, while others are distinctly specialized. This diversity reflects both our inherited predispositions and the influences of our environment. Our brains host varied neural systems that support specific intellectual operations. For instance, language processing tends to be localized in certain areas, while spatial reasoning involves different regions. Researchers emphasize how different brain regions align with particular cognitive roles. This illustrates that human intellect is not only a product of our genetic makeup, but also of our experiences. It's a dynamic interplay between fixed biological traits and malleable environmental influences. This interaction shapes the full spectrum of human intelligence, allowing for a wide range of individual differences and abilities. Some people might have a natural aptitude for languages, while others might excel in spatial reasoning or problem solving. Recognizing this diversity is key to understanding the richness and complexity of human cognition. The field of genetics offers intriguing but complex insights into intelligence. Since the discovery of DNA's structure, scientists have explored its influence on our mental capabilities. However, while genetic studies have explained simple traits in basic organisms, human intelligence remains remarkably enigmatic. Complex abilities, like language and musical talent, involve intricate gene interactions, making them difficult to trace to specific genes. Twin studies provide some guidance, showing hereditary tendencies in certain abilities. Identical twins who share the same genetic makeup often show more similar intellectual profiles than fraternal twins. However, heritability varies widely across different traits and environments. This suggests that while our genetic code lays the groundwork, environmental factors significantly mold our intellectual profiles. It's not a simple matter of nature versus nurture. Rather, it's a complex dance between our genes and our experiences, each influencing the other in intricate ways. Neurobiology further illuminates intelligence by illustrating how the brain's flexible architecture supports cognitive functions. The nervous system exhibits both canalization and plasticity. Canalization refers to the genetically guided paths our development typically follows, ensuring species-specific traits. However, plasticity counterbalances this rigidity, allowing organisms to adjust to environmental changes. This is particularly evident in early life, when the brain is remarkably adaptable. These plastic phases, bolstered by studies on visual systems and animal behavior, reveal how sensory experiences shape cognitive abilities. For instance, children who are exposed to a rich variety of sensory experiences in early childhood tend to develop stronger cognitive skills. Moreover, neurobiological research underscores how enriched environments enhance learning. This aligns with educational approaches that nurture human intellect through stimulating experiences. Understanding the balance between canalization and plasticity helps us appreciate how genetic predispositions and environmental factors jointly fine-tune our cognitive growth. Brain plasticity is remarkably pronounced in early life, granting young organisms robust adaptability. This adaptability is exemplified by phenomena like rapid environmental learning and recovery from early brain injuries. During critical development periods, the brain's architecture remains relatively uncommitted to specific functions, providing a window for diverse skill acquisition. For instance, children can often recover language abilities even after significant brain injuries if interventions occur early enough. However, this plasticity wanes over time. This highlights the importance of timely exposure to enriching environments to optimize intellectual development. Studies show that environments rich in stimuli lead to greater cognitive achievements and even structural brain enhancements. For example, animals raised in enriched settings display superior learning capabilities and more complex cerebral features than those raised in deprived conditions. This underscores the significance of an engaging atmosphere for fostering intelligence. The early experiences we provide can significantly mold intellectual capacities throughout life. This has profound implications for parenting, education, and social policy. Interestingly, studies on animals offer parallels to human learning processes. Research on songbirds, for example, reveals that song mastery involves both environmental exposure and inherent predispositions, akin to how humans learn language through interaction and practice. Likewise, investigations into simple organisms like mollusks show how synaptic alterations underpin basic learning forms. These studies highlight common biological learning mechanisms across species. Through meticulous dissection of such processes, researchers aim to draw connections between these foundational behaviors and more complex human cognitive functions. This offers a window into the evolutionary roots of intelligence. The brain's organization is crucial to understanding these cognitive functions. It consists of specialized regions with distinct roles, emphasizing how different areas govern various intellectual tasks. For instance, in language processing, specific areas manage speech production and comprehension. Such specialization suggests that our brain has evolved to handle complex tasks through a network of dedicated regions. These findings reveal potential biological bases for multiple intelligences, affirming the notion that human cognition is a concert of specific, interdependent functions crafted by nature. Views on brain organization have evolved alongside scientific advances. The debate oscillates between seeing the brain as a collection of distinct units and a unified processing machine. While localization theories emphasize specialized brain areas for different functions, holistic perspectives consider the brain's ability to adapt and compensate, a quality known as equipotentiality. Recent insights support a middle ground. Specific regions are integral for certain tasks, but cooperation among brain areas is crucial. This synthesizes the notion that while the brain exhibits specialization, its true strength lies in the interplay of its regions, reflecting a sophisticated orchestration of intelligence. This brings us back to the fundamental question: what exactly is an intelligence? It's clear that human intelligence is a multidimensional concept, not confined to a single ability or trait. This perspective advocates for acknowledging various intellectual strengths, each developing uniquely over time. To identify distinct intelligences, we need to establish clear criteria. These include potential isolation by brain damage, the existence of exceptional individuals like prodigies and savants, a core set of operations, and a distinctive developmental history. Additionally, we consider evolutionary plausibility, support from experimental psychology, and susceptibility to encoding in a symbol system. Brain injuries offer profound insights into the autonomous nature of different intelligences. Specific lesions can impact particular abilities while sparing others. For example, damage to a certain area might impair language abilities while leaving spatial reasoning intact. These cases reveal the modular organization of our minds, where certain abilities can be independently affected, providing compelling evidence for the existence of separate intelligences. Exceptional individuals, such as prodigies and savants, further illuminate the distinct nature of intelligences. A prodigy's advanced abilities in one area, like music or mathematics, often contrast with their average skills elsewhere, hinting at isolated developmental processes. Similarly, savants exhibit remarkable talents in specific domains despite limitations in other areas. These cases underscore the autonomy and genetic basis of certain intellectual strengths, adding weight to the multiple intelligences theory. Intelligences also have identifiable developmental paths, from novice stages to expert performance levels. These paths include critical periods and milestones that are impactful for education. On an evolutionary scale, intelligences carry antecedents evident in species-wide competencies. Tracing these practices back through time reveals how they evolved, not in isolation, but by integrating various capabilities, laying a broader framework for understanding human cognition. Psychological experiments and psychometric tests furnish additional insights into how various intelligences function. While traditional IQ tests have limitations, they still offer valuable clues about distinct cognitive abilities. High correlations within tasks of the same intelligence and low correlations with others support this theory. For example, someone who scores highly on tests of spatial reasoning is likely to do well on other spatial tasks, but may not necessarily excel in linguistic tasks. Symbol systems, such as language and mathematics, play crucial roles in manifesting human intelligence. An intelligence's utility is often enhanced when it corresponds to a cultural symbol system. However, it's important to navigate some common misconceptions. Intelligences are not merely sensory systems. They are broader than simple computational mechanisms. They operate according to unique rules and should not be conflated with specific learning styles or moral choices. Let's delve into linguistic intelligence, a remarkable capacity that encompasses a deep sensitivity to the nuances of language. This skill is masterfully honed by poets and writers who carefully select words and arrange syntax to create powerful and evocative works. Linguistic intelligence goes beyond simple vocabulary knowledge. It involves an intricate understanding of phonology, the sounds of language, semantics, the meanings of words, syntax, the structure of sentences, and pragmatics, the use of language in context. The art of language lies in the ability to use words to evoke imagery and emotion, a mastery seen in the works of renowned poets like T.S. Eliot and writers like Jean-Paul Sartre. Their meticulous attention to detail, their constant revision and refinement, demonstrates the cognitive effort involved in linguistic craftsmanship. Mastering these elements allows writers to communicate complex ideas and emotions with precision and artistry, resonating deeply with their audience. Linguistic intelligence is not just about the words themselves, but how they are woven together to create meaning and evoke a response. Poetry exemplifies linguistic intelligence in its purest form. Poets like T.S. Eliot and Stephen Spender demonstrate the precision and care involved in crafting their verses. They meticulously weigh alternative wordings to achieve the perfect balance of sound and meaning. This process requires not only a keen ear for the musicality of language, but also a deep understanding of syntax and semantics. The meticulous art of revision is a crucial aspect of linguistic intelligence. Eliot's painstaking process involved testing numerous word combinations before settling on the most accurate and evocative phrasing. This attention to detail ensures consistency and clarity in conveying the poet's vision. Similarly, Spender illustrates the iterative nature of crafting poetry, where layers of revision lead to the final piece that aligns with the original creative impulse. Such dedication highlights the cognitive effort involved in linguistic craftsmanship. It's a process of constant refinement, shaping and reshaping language to achieve the desired effect. Understanding the interplay of semantics and syntax is fundamental to linguistic intelligence. Semantics involves the connotations and meanings of words, while syntax dictates sentence structure and grammatical rules. Poets and writers must navigate these elements to maintain consistency and coherence in their work. They use these components to balance their work's thematic and emotional impacts, creating layers of meaning that resonate with the reader. Phonology, the study of sound patterns, is another crucial facet of linguistic intelligence. Poets, in particular, leverage auditory sensitivity to create rhythm and musicality in their work. This aspect requires an acute awareness of sound relationships. Beyond these elements, pragmatic understanding is vital for effective communication. This involves recognizing the different functions of language, from persuasion to narration. Linguistic intelligence includes the capacity to use language strategically based on context, audience, and intention. Language serves various functions across cultures, often reflecting societal values and needs. In some cultures, oratory and memorization were historically prized, while others emphasized literacy and written communication. The cultural context shapes how linguistic intelligence is developed and valued, making it a rich and multifaceted skill. As societies evolve, so do the roles and uses of language, demonstrating its adaptability and fundamental importance in human interaction and cultural continuity. Neuroscience provides further insights into language processing. The human brain's capacity for language involves specialized regions, predominantly in the left hemisphere, dedicated to different linguistic functions. Understanding how these areas interact provides insight into the neural basis of linguistic intelligence. Studies of aphasia, a language disorder caused by brain damage, reveal how specific language functions can be isolated, underscoring the complexity and specialization of language in the brain. The evolution of language is a testament to human cognitive advancement. The development of the vocal tract and neural mechanisms capable of rapid speech distinguished humans from other species. While hypotheses about language evolution vary, it is clear that linguistic competence has ancient roots and has enormously impacted human culture and society. The sophistication of language reflects a culmination of evolutionary processes, enabling complex communication and fostering cultural and intellectual growth. Now let's turn our attention to another fascinating intelligence: musical intelligence. Musical talent often emerges very early in childhood, sometimes even before other forms of intelligence are apparent. This early development can be due to varied factors, such as exposure to music in the environment, innate abilities, or even specialized programs. Children may exhibit prodigious abilities to play instruments, recall complex compositions, or even create original music. While many gifted children show remarkable early musical talent, only some continue to develop into accomplished adult musicians. The path to becoming a composer usually involves intense dedication and education. Many composers begin as performers, developing skills that they later build upon to create original works. The ability to compose involves not just technical mastery, but also creative imagination, as composers transform fleeting ideas into structured musical pieces. Renowned educators and composers like Aaron Copland and Roger Sessions emphasize the naturalness of the composition process, which often involves reshaping basic musical ideas that seem to come as a gift. Musical intelligence comprises several core elements, including pitch, rhythm, and timbre, which together form the foundation of musical expression. Different cultures might emphasize these elements differently. For example, some may focus on nuanced use of pitch, while others emphasize complex rhythmic patterns. The study of music perception uncovers how individuals process musical sounds, from basic tones to complex compositions. Researchers use various approaches to understand this, from focusing on individual elements to analyzing entire musical pieces. Recent research often takes a middle ground, studying entities large enough to resemble real music, but manageable enough for systematic analysis. Such studies reveal that most people can appreciate musical structure and comprehend relationships within musical keys and rhythms. This indicates that musical comprehension is an intricate blend of learned skills and natural perception. Musical competence evolves through distinct developmental stages, beginning as early as infancy when children start to mimic and produce musical sounds. Initially, children's musical expressions are spontaneous, but they gradually incorporate the musical structures prevalent in their surroundings. This early engagement lays the foundation for more advanced musical skills acquired through formal education or cultural practices. The confluence of genetics and cultural influences shapes musical ability. While some families, like the Bachs, showcase generational musical talent, often these abilities emerge regardless of familial musical history. Talented individuals can arise in any environment, demonstrating innate musical capabilities like precise pitch recognition or melody recall. Cultural factors also play a significant role. Societies that emphasize musical proficiency, like Hungary or Japan, often see widespread musical skill development among children. Such evidence suggests that while genetic predispositions might exist, cultural encouragement can significantly enhance musical skill acquisition. This interplay between innate potential and environmental factors underscores the complex nature of musical talent. It's not simply about having good genes for music. It's about how those genes interact with a supportive and stimulating cultural environment. Music engages the brain in complex ways distinct from language, involving different neural pathways. Research indicates that while most musical processing occurs in the right hemisphere, trained musicians increasingly engage the left hemisphere, indicating that expertise can alter brain activity. Certain conditions, such as amusia, showcase the localization of musical abilities, often affecting the right hemisphere. The neural representation of music varies considerably among individuals, possibly due to different musical exposures and engagements. Unusual instances of musical talent often highlight the independence of musical intelligence. Many autistic individuals exhibit exceptional musical abilities, even amid other cognitive challenges. Some can memorize and perform music with high precision. Exceptional cases like savants exhibit capabilities that seem almost isolated within their overall abilities, pointing to a fascinating preservation of musical talent, even when other cognitive areas are impaired. These examples provide insight into the unique and isolated nature of musical intelligence, suggesting it operates independently from other cognitive faculties. Music maintains intriguing connections with other intellectual spheres, often weaving into cultural expressions. It is linked with body movement and gestures, suggesting a precursor to dance and performance arts. It also fosters spatial awareness and skill through its structures. While some speculate that music shares parallels with mathematical thinking in terms of patterns and structures, its primary engagement remains deeply expressive, focusing on emotional conveyance rather than mathematical precision. This interconnectedness challenges scientists to understand music's role within the broader scope of human cognition and experience. Despite its apparent lack of survival function, music remains central to human life, prompting deep emotion and cultural expression. Its origins may be intertwined with language development, but music has evolved into an independent force. Musicologists speculate that understanding music could unlock broader insights into human cognition, given its interaction with feelings and various cultural practices. Now, let's turn our attention to logical mathematical intelligence, our ability to reason, work with abstract symbols, and navigate numbers. This is the intelligence crucial for solving problems and understanding the underlying principles of the world around us. Jean Piaget's landmark research illuminated how this intelligence evolves from a young age. He illustrated that foundational logical mathematical knowledge stems from our interactions with the physical environment, beginning with infants' exploratory actions. Over time, these interactions morph into higher-level abstract thinking, forming the basis for more complex cognitive functions like problem-solving and logical reasoning. Piaget's developmental stages highlight key milestones such as object permanence and classification, which eventually give rise to the ability to manipulate abstract symbols and concepts. His work showed how children gradually develop the capacity to reason logically, progressing from concrete operations to abstract thought. This laid the groundwork for understanding how logical mathematical intelligence unfolds. Piaget mapped out distinct stages in children's cognitive development, emphasizing how logical necessity becomes an integral part of reasoning as children mature. From sensory-motor actions, children advance to concrete operations, where they grasp quantities and numbers. The final leap occurs in adolescence, when formal operational thinking emerges, allowing abstract thought manipulation. Although Piaget's framework is foundational, later studies suggest these stages might be more fluid than originally thought. Mathematicians thrive in the abstract, wielding logic and numbers as they unravel complex patterns. Esteemed figures like Euler exemplify this craft, demonstrating how logical mathematical prowess manifests as an ability to handle intricate reasoning chains. From an early age, mathematicians often showcase a distinct talent for pattern recognition and abstraction, reaching their intellectual zenith before midlife. Recognized for their structured thought processes, they can construct enduring mathematical concepts and frameworks that transcend time. While closely linked to mathematical reasoning, scientific thinking diverges in its pursuit of explaining physical reality. Scientists like Einstein and Newton exemplify this approach, driven by a quest to unravel the universe's mysteries. They strive for theories aligned with empirical evidence, favoring elegant, unified explanations of natural phenomena. However, unlike mathematicians who revel in abstractions, scientists prioritize concrete models reflecting observed reality. Scientific thinking involves a constant interplay between observation, hypothesis formation, experimentation, and refinement of theories. It's a dynamic process of seeking evidence, testing ideas, and revising understanding based on new findings. Despite their different goals, both scientific and mathematical disciplines cherish rigorous logic and systematic inquiry. This distinction highlights the diverse motivations and methodologies underpinning scientific versus mathematical advances. Logical mathematical cognition manifests differently across cultures, influenced by context and societal values. While Western cultures emphasize abstract thinking in education, other societies might prioritize functional cognitive skills for survival. Pre-literate cultures, for example, often demonstrate keen estimation skills essential for daily tasks. Moreover, societal interactions, including traditional games and strategic activities, foster logical thinking without formal education. These cultural forms of intelligence illustrate how logical mathematical skills adapt to varied environmental demands. However, despite cultural differences, basic skills like calculation and classification remain universal cognitive tools. This suggests that while the expression of logical mathematical intelligence may vary, the underlying capacity for logical reasoning is a fundamental aspect of human cognition. Despite humans' intrinsic logical capacity, many maintain inconsistent beliefs, yet these don't typically disrupt daily decisions. Logic plays a paradoxical role, underpinning reasoning while enduring alongside belief systems that may defy it. This phenomenon shows logical mathematical intelligence's limits. While powerful for problem solving, it doesn't dictate all thought realms. Cultural and environmental influences shape belief systems that may seem illogical. The nature of scientific inquiry itself has evolved, thanks in part to Thomas Kuhn's critiques on its linear progression. Kuhn proposed that science doesn't simply advance toward an ultimate truth. Instead, paradigm shifts reveal how scientific understanding morphs over time, each providing insight while obscuring other aspects. This nonlinear progression underscores the transient nature of scientific consensus, where yesterday's truths may shift. Rapid technological advances redefine the landscape of both science and mathematics. As computers and other technological innovations become integral, the distinction between human and computational contributions blurs. This shift suggests a redefinition of problems and approaches within disciplines, challenging traditional frameworks. As technology influences logical mathematical pursuits, fields evolve, propelling new methods, innovations, and partnerships. Despite its prominence, logical mathematical intelligence is just one facet of human intellect, not inherently superior to others. This form of intelligence excels in specific contexts, but often intertwines with other intelligences. For example, spatial reasoning often works in conjunction with logical mathematical abilities. Furthermore, individuals inclined toward logical mathematical intelligence often find intersections with creative fields, influenced by their inherent systematized thinking. Now, let's explore spatial intelligence, the ability to perceive the visual world accurately, transform and manipulate those perceptions, and recreate aspects of one's visual experiences. This capacity includes recognizing shapes from different angles, imagining movements and rotations, and solving complex spatial problems. Spatial intelligence is crucial in fields requiring visualization and transformation skills, such as engineering, architecture, and the arts. While some people naturally excel in spatial tasks, others may find them more challenging. This highlights the variations in how this intelligence develops and manifests in individuals. To test spatial intelligence, researchers often use tasks that involve identifying shapes, understanding rotations, and manipulating visual information mentally. These tests reveal the mental gymnastics involved in spatial reasoning. Spatial problems extend beyond visual imagery to encompass verbal and abstract reasoning. Puzzles that require folding a paper in specific ways or predicting movements based on descriptions use spatial logic. Such tasks demand a synthesis of visual and verbal skills, demonstrating how spatial intelligence intersects with logical mathematical thinking. Some individuals solve these puzzles verbally, a testament to the brain's capacity to process spatial challenges through diverse methods. This multifaceted approach to spatial problems underscores its role as a versatile and critical component of intelligence, applicable in numerous problem-solving contexts. It's not just about visualizing shapes, it's about understanding spatial relationships and manipulating them mentally, whether through images or words. This ability to translate between visual and verbal representations is a hallmark of spatial intelligence and highlights the interconnectedness of different cognitive abilities. From childhood to adulthood, spatial intelligence unfolds through interaction with the environment. Children begin with sensory-motor understanding and gradually progress to manipulating mental images, aided by experiences. Jean Piaget's studies highlighted that spatial understanding matures alongside logical thinking. As children grow, they display a keen ability to form mental images and appreciate differing perspectives, eventually mastering abstract spatial reasoning in adolescence. This developmental journey suggests that while spatial intelligence is innate, it benefits immensely from experiences, education, and practice. It's a blend of innate potential with learned skills. Think of how children learn to navigate their surroundings, first by physically exploring and later by forming mental maps. Or how they learn to build with blocks, developing an intuitive understanding of shapes, sizes, and spatial relationships. These early experiences lay the foundation for more advanced spatial reasoning abilities that are crucial in many fields, from architecture and engineering to surgery and design. Spatial intelligence has robust neural underpinnings, primarily involving the right hemisphere of the brain. Damage to this area often results in deficits in spatial reasoning, revealing its critical role. Studies on stroke victims and those with brain injuries have shown limitations in spatial perception, memory, and imagery. These explorations suggest that particular brain regions handle the intricacies of spatial thought. Neuropsychological research highlights that spatial intelligence draws from both simple sensory input and complex cognitive processes. Spatial skills are also celebrated across cultures, each showcasing unique applications. For instance, the Puluwat navigators of the Caroline Islands exemplify exceptional spatial skills through their star-based navigation techniques. Similarly, the Inuits' ability to navigate featureless terrains highlights culturally honed spatial abilities. These culturally specific skills show that while methods may vary, the core of spatial intelligence is universal. By observing these practices, we learn how different societies harness spatial reasoning to interact with and master their environments. In the arts, spatial intelligence plays a pivotal role, especially in painting and sculpture. Artists channel their acute spatial perceptions into creating works that capture the essence of their subjects. Masters like Van Gogh and Le Corbusier exemplified this skill by translating complex forms and colors into coherent artistic expressions. Their work illustrates the blend of meticulous observation and creative synthesis inherent in the visual arts. This realm of spatial intelligence allows artists to push boundaries, inviting viewers to experience the world anew through their vivid interpretations and designs. Interestingly, blind individuals challenge the notion that spatial intelligence requires sight. Remarkably, they often demonstrate strong spatial abilities, relying on touch and other senses to perceive and interpret space. Research shows that they can create and manipulate spatial representations despite visual limitations. The blind community's capacity to convert tactile experiences into spatial understanding highlights the adaptability of spatial intelligence. It demonstrates that spatial reasoning is not solely dependent on visual input, but can be developed through other sensory modalities. Certain individuals exhibit extraordinary spatial abilities, whether in everyday life or under unique circumstances. Renowned figures like Nikola Tesla demonstrated exceptional mental visualization, constructing complex devices in their minds. Similarly, autistic savants like Nadia astonish with their prodigious spatial talents, particularly in drawing. These stories illustrate the wide spectrum of spatial intelligence, from superlative visualization skills to unique cognitive profiles. Such anomalous examples expand our understanding of spatial intelligence, emphasizing its capacity to manifest remarkably in those whose skills differ from the broader population. Throughout life, spatial intelligence persists as a vital cognitive ability. While some aspects may decline with age, many artists and scientists retain or even enhance their spatial skills into later years. This phenomenon suggests that spatial intelligence, rooted in concrete experiences, possesses enduring value. For cultures and individuals alike, spatial intelligence remains an essential tool for navigating both the physical and mental landscapes of the world. Now let's turn our attention to another fascinating intelligence: bodily kinesthetic intelligence. This is the ability to use one's body in highly differentiated and skilled ways for expressive as well as goal-directed purposes. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence is showcased in the performances of mime artists like Marcel Marceau, who create vivid scenes using only their bodies. This form of intelligence enables individuals to convey complex narratives and emotions without the need for language or props. Mimes use exaggerated gestures and facial expressions to draw attention to details, making the invisible visible. The skills required for mime performance reflect a deep understanding of bodily mechanics and the capacity to create believable illusions. It's a remarkable ability to control physical movement and manipulate the perception of objects and actions in a way that captivates audiences, engaging viewers on both a physical and emotional level. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence involves the ability to use the body purposefully and precisely. This can range from expressive activities such as dance to more practical tasks like crafting or athletics. It's about creating and manipulating objects and spaces with skill, whether through delicate hand movements or more expansive bodily motions. This intelligence underpins physical activities, allowing individuals to excel in domains that require fine motor skills or gross motor activities. It's integral not just for performers like dancers and athletes, but also for inventors and artisans who manipulate physical objects to achieve functional or aesthetic goals. Surgeons, for example, require incredible dexterity and precision, while construction workers need strength, coordination, and an understanding of how physical forces interact. This ability to control and coordinate bodily movements is not just about physical prowess. It involves a deep understanding of how the body interacts with the world, reflecting a strong connection between body and mind. The significance of bodily intelligence is rooted in ancient history. The Greeks, for instance, idealized the human body, aspiring for harmony between physical grace and mental agility. This form of intelligence was crucial in developing skills necessary for survival, such as hunting and tool-making. Such innate physical prowess has evolved into various cultural expressions, from the precision of martial arts to the fluidity of modern dance. Historically, bodily intelligence was not only a means of physical accomplishment, but also a pathway to cultural and personal expression. This was evident in ancient athletics and artistic performances, where skillful physical expression played a pivotal role in societal activities. However, in many Western cultures, there's been a long-standing separation between mental and physical activities, often valuing intellectual pursuits over bodily ones. This artificial divide has often led to an underappreciation of the importance of bodily intelligence. Recent insights suggest a strong connection between bodily movements and cognitive processes. Skilled physical performance, like that seen in sports or performing arts, involves a complex interplay of signals from the environment and internal feedback mechanisms, integrating perception and action seamlessly. This seamless integration defies the traditional divide between mind and body, emphasizing that skillful use of the body is a form of intelligent thinking. Cognitive scientists now see parallels between problem-solving and physical activities, challenging us to appreciate the interconnectedness of mind and body. The evolution of bodily intelligence can be traced through the gradual sophistication of tool use among early humans. From basic stone tools used by Homo habilis to the complex implements of Cro-Magnon man, the development of bodily intelligence was crucial for survival and cultural advancement. The ability to manipulate tools skillfully not only improved hunting and gathering, but also led to developments in art and symbolic thought, as seen in Paleolithic cave paintings. This evolutionary trajectory highlights the interplay between physical dexterity and cognitive growth. The development of bodily intelligence begins in infancy with basic reflexes and evolves as individuals engage with their environment. As children grow, they refine their motor skills through play and interaction with objects, gradually integrating these abilities into more complex behaviors. Skills acquired through physical interaction can later translate into abstract thought processes, suggesting that bodily intelligence acts as a foundation for other forms of intelligence. Dance exemplifies bodily intelligence by combining physical movements with cultural expression. It encompasses a wide range of styles and functions across different societies, from the ritualistic dances of indigenous cultures to artistic performances in contemporary theaters. Dancers use their bodies to communicate emotions, tell stories, and reflect societal values. Acting, too, draws on bodily intelligence to bring characters and narratives to life. Actors learn techniques to control their bodies, whether through dance, mime, or method acting, to convincingly portray a character's inner world. Athletes epitomize bodily intelligence through their mastery of movement, timing, and coordination. Each sport demands specific physical skills, whether it's the speed and agility of a sprinter or the precision of a golfer. Beyond physical prowess, athletes utilize strategy, interpersonal understanding, and emotional resilience to excel. The sensations of movement and body awareness play critical roles in achieving performance excellence. Inventors and artisans demonstrate bodily intelligence through their ability to transform ideas into tangible objects. This requires a combination of manual dexterity, spatial awareness, and cognitive planning. Inventors manipulate materials creatively, using tools to develop functional and sometimes novel solutions to problems. This process involves not just physical skills, but also logical reasoning and sometimes a touch of artistry. Understanding how to manipulate objects effectively points to a blend of bodily kinesthetic and other forms of intelligence, showing that creation and innovation are deeply rooted in physical engagement and cognitive foresight. Now let's shift our focus to the personal intelligences, a fascinating domain that focuses on understanding oneself and others. Personal intelligence divides into intrapersonal, which is grasping one's emotions, and interpersonal, which involves understanding others. Both are crucial for personal and social interactions and are shaped by cultural symbols and meanings, making them varied across societies. Two key figures who explored these concepts were Sigmund Freud and William James. While Freud and James hailed from different philosophical backgrounds, they shared a belief in the importance of the individual self. Freud focused on self-exploration, insisting that understanding one's internal world was crucial to personal development. On the other hand, James placed more emphasis on the social fabric, underscoring the significance of community and relationships in shaping the self. Despite these differences, both believed that personal intelligence was key to human experience. Personal intelligence consists of two main components: intrapersonal and interpersonal intelligence. Intrapersonal intelligence involves a deep understanding of personal emotions, motives, and desires. It's about recognizing and understanding our own feelings, from simple reactions to complex emotions like empathy and guilt. This form of intelligence is important for self-awareness and personal growth. On the flip side, interpersonal intelligence is the ability to interpret and respond to the emotions and motivations of others. It's about understanding social cues, navigating relationships, and communicating effectively. Crucial for successful communication and relationship building, both types play a significant role in our daily interactions. They are also influenced by cultural and social dynamics, providing different cultures with unique lenses through which to view personal intelligence. Every culture has its distinct take on personal intelligence, influenced by its history, symbols, and values. For instance, Western cultures often emphasize individuality and self-actualization. In contrast, collectivist societies might prioritize conformity and group harmony. Personal development is a journey that begins early in life, with the infant caregiver bond setting the foundation for future understanding of self and others. As children grow, they develop the ability to understand complex emotions and social roles, gradually shaping their personal identities. This process continues into adolescence, where the integration of personal desires and societal expectations takes place. Each life stage brings new challenges and insights, influenced by cultural contexts. Different cultures offer unique perspectives on personal growth and identity. For example, Balinese society places great importance on societal roles, emphasizing duty and responsibility. Meanwhile, Javanese culture explores inner-outer dichotomies, reflecting their approach to public and private personas. Moroccan traditions highlight the distinctions between public and private life. These cultural nuances impact how individuals perceive themselves and their connection to the community. Each culture provides a distinct balance of interpersonal and intrapersonal knowledge. Biology plays a fundamental role in the development of personal intelligence by providing the necessary framework for self-awareness and social interaction. Our inherent social nature and prolonged development as primates contribute significantly to our ability to understand both ourselves and others. This biological basis forms a foundation upon which cultural and historical influences build, resulting in diverse expressions of personal intelligence. This intersection of biology and culture creates a complex tapestry of individual differences. Western cultures tend to focus on individuality and self-actualization, often seeing the self as an entity to be cultivated and expressed. This emphasis shapes the development of personal intelligence by highlighting inner development and self-expression over collective identity. This cultural stance, however, is not a universal human experience, but rather a choice influenced by historical and cultural contexts. It raises intriguing questions about the extent to which personal intelligence is a developmental imperative or a social construct. Although personal intelligence is an engaging subject, it faces critiques concerning its scientific validity and complexity. Critics argue that the culturally dependent nature of personal intelligence makes it difficult to categorize alongside other recognized forms of intelligence. These challenges prompt further exploration into how personal intelligence corresponds with established cognitive frameworks. The juxtaposition of universal features with cultural nuances suggests a layered complexity. Cultures play a significant role in determining how personal intelligences develop and are expressed. Each culture confronts a choice in selecting the primary unit of analysis, whether it be the individual self, the nuclear family, or a larger community entity. This selection influences individual perceptions of self and others, providing different interpretive contexts for personal experiences. Understanding this interplay of cultural and personal factors enriches our comprehension of personal intelligences and underscores their importance in human cognition. Let's now turn our attention to the theory of multiple intelligences itself and address some of the criticisms it faces. The theory posits that human intelligence is not a singular trait, but a diverse set of capabilities. It identifies several intelligences, such as linguistic, musical, and spatial, each with its distinct computational core. Every individual exhibits varying degrees of these intelligences based on hereditary factors, early learning experiences, and environmental influences. While the theory offers a broad viewpoint, its critics argue that there are significant gaps and oversights. The theory may appear eclectic or overly broad, lacking precise definitions for each intelligence. Critics suggest that it doesn't adequately address how these intelligences interact or the potential for overlapping capabilities. Additionally, some argue that the theory might ignore key areas of human cognition, like emotional intelligence or social skills, which are also crucial to personal and professional success. Another critique hinges on the practical application of the theory. How can educators and policymakers seamlessly integrate this theory into educational systems designed around traditional intelligence metrics? Furthermore, while the metaphor of computational cores for each intelligence is intended to be illustrative, it falls short of accurately reflecting the intricacies of human brain function. By comparing intelligences to computer-like systems, the theory risks oversimplifying the rich complexity of human cognition. The human brain is far more dynamic and interconnected than a set of independent computational modules. Despite these criticisms, the novel approach stimulates ongoing dialogues about diversifying educational strategies to accommodate varied learning styles. It pushes us to think critically about how we can create educational environments that nurture a wider range of human abilities. The idea of multiple facets of intelligence isn't entirely new. Historical precedents, like 19th century faculty psychology, recognized separate mental faculties. This paved the way for modern theories. However, faculty psychology eventually lost favor due to emerging scientific approaches that sought universal psychological laws. Despite this, theories advocating for modular views of the mind have resurfaced, illustrating a renewed interest in specialized cognitive functions. British psychologist D. Alan Allport's depiction of the mind as comprising independent production systems aligns closely with this notion. His model details various cognitive operations that occur parallelly, aligning with the idea of multiple intelligences. Philosopher Jerry Fodor also argued for mental processes as encapsulated modules, each functioning independently. This perspective matches many core aspects of the multiple intelligences theory, suggesting that the brain organizes knowledge into distinct domains. Though these modular views often exclude a central processing system, which some argue is necessary for integrating information from different modules, they align well with observations of cognitive specialization. The debate continues whether the mind operates primarily through independent modules or requires a central executive function to coordinate them. This has significant implications for education. The theory of multiple intelligences urges educators to expand their teaching strategies beyond the traditional verbal and mathematical focus. It encourages fostering environments that allow various intelligences to flourish. In practice, schools could integrate music, arts, physical education, and interpersonal activities into the curriculum, recognizing each as a vital area of student development. This inclusive approach not only acknowledges diverse talents, but also bridges the gap between educational and real-world skills. In an educational setting, addressing multiple intelligences can personalize learning experiences, making them more engaging and effective. Teachers can use diverse methods and resources, such as project-based learning and experiential activities, to cater to different learning styles and strengths. Recognizing students' unique strengths and fostering them can lead to improved motivation, self-esteem, and mastery of subjects. However, the theory of multiple intelligences, while broad, does not encompass all psychological constructs. Key areas like social psychology, temperament, character development, and emotional intelligence remain outside its scope. This omission is partly due to the theory's focus on distinct cognitive abilities rather than emotional or social skills, which are equally pivotal in human development. The inclusion of interpersonal and intrapersonal intelligences provides room for acknowledging emotional and personality factors, increasingly seen as crucial to life success. However, broader aspects of motivation and attention also escape exhaustive treatment within this theory. When exploring cognitive abilities, higher-level functions like common sense, originality, and wisdom present challenges for the multiple intelligences framework. These qualities transcend single-domain definitions. For instance, common sense often reflects effective interpersonal skills and practical applications, not just intellectual prowess. Originality involves generating new ideas, requiring mastery in a domain, while genius involves cross-domain connections and metaphoric thinking. The ability to create metaphors and find analogies challenges the separate intelligence concept, pointing instead to broader integrative abilities. The theory struggles to encompass wisdom, which transcends specific intelligences, involving synthesis and judgment across life experiences. The concept of the self further complicates the issue. The sense of self is deeply interconnected with interpersonal and intrapersonal intelligences, growing with cultural context and personal experience. This dual role complicates the simplistic separation of intelligences into distinct capacities. Some suggest the self might be an eighth intelligence, encapsulating and regulating others, seeing the self as a central processor in cognitive frameworks. Others propose viewing the sense of self as a developmental achievement, emerging from multiple intelligences working harmoniously. This viewpoint recognizes the cultural and symbolic contexts needed for self-conception, demonstrating how our sociocultural environment shapes self-awareness and identity. By combining cognitive competencies with cultural narratives, individuals craft self-models reflecting their identities. This synthesis shows the overlap of intellect and culture, suggesting that the sense of self results from the interplay of intelligences with cultural symbols, framing individuality within a broader social and intellectual context. The self, then, is not merely a separate intelligence, but a complex construction that integrates our various abilities and experiences within a specific cultural framework. Despite its innovative approach, the theory of multiple intelligences faces challenges that could disprove or necessitate revising its framework. If significant human intellectual activities remain unexplained by the theory or can be better rationalized through alternative models, its validity may be in question. Further neuroscientific or cross-cultural research might reveal differing cognitive processes, prompting re-evaluation of current understandings. Traditional concepts like comprehensive neurological or psychological systems might offer superior insights. Additionally, critiques emphasize the limited empirical support for some intelligences, suggesting refinements or exclusions for specific capabilities currently listed under the theory. The pressure also exists to recognize universal or shared cognitive processes, like memory and learning, that interact with intelligence domains. Although accustomed to theoretical refinements, any fundamental flaw or superior competing theory could lead to substantial reconsideration or rejection of the model. Nevertheless, such scrutiny is crucial, ensuring robust and adaptive theoretical frameworks that evolve with advancing knowledge and methodologies. Reflecting on human intelligence, it's clear that intelligences can't be isolated from meaning and culture. The world offers rich contexts for intelligences to express and develop, transforming raw capacities into tools for personal and societal evolution. Multiple intelligences allow us to navigate symbolic worlds and partake in complex cultural practices. By participating in interpretation-heavy environments, we further enrich our intellectual potential and create dynamic knowledge systems. This narrative underscores the importance of understanding how social interactions and cultural practices shape intelligence. Beyond computational models and analytical abstractions, intelligence embodies experiences, symbolism, and cultural constructs. These elements are pivotal for integrating theory into educational practice. It advocates for holistic educational approaches that foster diverse intelligences, nurturing students as whole individuals within their cultural narrative. Intelligence isn't merely processing information. It's about meaningful engagement in a world dense with symbols and cultural significance. Transitioning to practical applications, the theory of multiple intelligences demands rethinking educational practices. Key to this is reshaping curricula to encompass diverse cognitive abilities, ensuring holistic development. Moving away from the conventional focus on linguistic and mathematical skills, more inclusive frameworks recognize and nurture varied intelligences. This means integrating arts, music, physical activities, and interpersonal interactions to enrich learning. Such diversity prepares students for a wide range of real-world roles, honoring individual strengths. Educational institutions stand to benefit from personalized teaching methods that support different learning styles, engaging students through customized teaching strategies that reflect their unique capabilities. Providing different pathways allows learners to flourish across domains, enhancing motivation and educational outcomes. Teachers play a central role in identifying students' dominant intelligences, tailoring instruction to inspire curiosity and passion. Additionally, fostering innovative thinking and problem-solving lies at the intersection of these varied intelligences, sparking creativity and holistic understanding. Through these changes, education becomes not just an acquisition of knowledge, but a journey to empowering individuals who can thrive in a multifaceted world of work, relationships, and creative endeavors. This approach seeks to redefine educational success to embrace holistic human development. The future of education lies in creating learning environments that are inclusive, innovation-driven, and attuned to the rich array of human capabilities. By embracing the principles of multiple intelligences, we can create an educational system that truly nurtures the potential within each individual, preparing them to contribute meaningfully to their communities and to the world. Let's now turn our attention to how intelligences are socialized through symbols. Symbols serve as a crucial link between our biological predispositions and cultural frameworks. Biology sets the potential for cognitive activities through the neural structures and synaptic connections, whereas anthropology explores the varied cultural roles and thought processes developed over time. However, these disciplines often speak different languages. Symbols step in to bridge this divide, functioning as common elements that both our nervous system and cultures can engage with. They allow for a shared understanding, helping translate biological capabilities into culturally relevant concepts such as language and mathematics. Think of how a musical note can represent a specific pitch, or how a mathematical equation can model a complex relationship. Symbols are not just confined to words or numbers. They span a diverse range of elements like pictures, gestures, and mathematical notations. A symbol can represent tangible or abstract ideas, adapting meaning based on community interpretation. For instance, a painting might evoke emotions beyond its physical colors, or a simple gesture can convey a complex message. This adaptability allows symbols to express varied meanings, from simple narratives to complex scientific theories. Symbols are building blocks for understanding that transcend biological limits, as our brain is wired to learn from these symbolic entities. They facilitate communication and cultural continuity by embodying universally understandable concepts, essential for social interaction and intellectual growth. The development of symbolic competence begins in childhood. Through 4 distinct phases, children learn to connect activities with meaningful outcomes, engage with various symbol systems, and refine their skills through formal education. Human intelligence encompasses various domains which interact during the symbolic development process. In infancy, multiple cognitive skills, such as spatial, musical, and logical mathematical, start emerging independently while gradually influencing each other. For instance, understanding spatial relationships enhances fine motor skills vital for intricate tasks like drawing. Symbolic activities in children like storytelling and pretend play synthesize these diverse intelligences, forming a cohesive cognitive foundation. This interplay of intelligences highlights the dynamic and interconnected nature of human cognition, which is enriched through engagement with symbols. Symbolic development follows 2 primary pathways: streams and waves. Each symbolic system, like language or music, progresses along a distinct stream. In language, syntactic abilities grow from single words to complex sentences. However, symbolic learning also involves waves, psychological processes that spread across domains. Take event structuring, for example. It appears in language as well as in play and art, linking symbols to real-world actions and roles. These overlapping waves reveal our flexibility in applying similar cognitive strategies across varying contexts. They illustrate how symbolic skills aren't confined but evolve across different realms. Around 5 years of age, children embark on mastering notational symbolization, utilizing systems that organize and convey complex information. This learning occurs through cultural channels, formal systems like literacy and numeracy familiar in education. Notations are second-order symbols, such as writing that represents spoken words or musical notation that represents sounds. Cultures provide these channels, which shape cognitive development. Mastery of these systems becomes a core educational focus, marking a shift from informal to structured learning. This stage is crucial for cultural participation and intellectual discourse. Formal education plays a pivotal role in facilitating the transition from basic symbolic competence to advanced mastery. By structuring learning environments around diverse symbolic systems, education aims to align individual intellectual capacities with cultural expectations. As children grow, educational settings introduce them to notational systems, embedding essential skills for societal roles. This process often tempers the free-spirited creativity seen in younger years, but provides the foundation for standard cultural participation. The educational journey bridges individual potential with societal demands, ensuring a cohesive intellectual environment where individuals can thrive and contribute meaningfully. Culture profoundly influences how symbols are interpreted and utilized, shaping intellectual development and expression. Each culture offers unique symbolic systems, from language and art to traditions and rituals, guiding individuals in mastering relevant skills. Cultural values dictate which symbol systems are emphasized, directing educational focus and personal growth. The journey of symbolic development invites debates on its underlying processes. Scholars contest both the rigidity and flexibility of learning stages, questioning if cognitive growth strictly follows age-related milestones. Other perspectives argue for dynamic learning, where abilities evolve based on environment and cultural experience. The scope of potential symbolic systems and the impact of early intervention also trigger discussions. While some emphasize genetic predispositions, others highlight environmental influences, advocating that consistent training can significantly shape cognitive outcomes. These controversies underscore the complexity of symbolic development, navigating between innate potential and cultural shaping forces. Exploring symbolic development prompts questions about the future of human intelligence in evolving cultures. As societies progress technologically and culturally, new symbolic systems may emerge, reshaping cognitive expectations. The education of intelligences spans various cultures, highlighting uniquely developed skills. The Puluwat Island youth, for example, learns navigation by harnessing spatial intelligence intricacies essential for survival in the vast Pacific. Meanwhile, the Quranic student in a traditional religious setting acquires linguistic intelligence through rote memorization of sacred texts. These distinct educational traditions paint a picture rich in diverse competences shaped by environmental and cultural needs. Through these examples, it becomes evident that cultural contexts significantly influence the development of specific intelligences, reflecting the value a society places on particular skills essential for its continuity. From individual learning to societal functioning, education not only develops individuals but also ensures they adapt effectively within their societies. This dual focus considers both personal development and societal needs. In every culture, education plays a pivotal role. From Jules Henry reminding us of Homo sapiens as status seekers, to the methods used in traditional and modern educational settings, education is crucial for socialization and survival. The importance placed on transmitting knowledge ensures individuals are prepared to engage productively with their environments. Whether through community-driven methods like bush schools or formalized systems like guild apprenticeships, each society develops unique methods closely tied to its cultural fabric. Education, therefore, becomes not just a tool for individual enhancement, but also a societal necessity, forging community coherence. As societies advance, their educational systems undergo transformations, moving from direct, unmediated methods to more formal schooling. Historical transitions include the initiation rites and bush schools of traditional societies, which gradually evolved into structured modern schools focused on literacy and scientific methodology. In the Islamic world, education often begins with Quranic schooling, where young students memorize the entire Quran, emphasizing phonetic recitation, often without comprehension. This rigorous practice is designed to foster deep linguistic mastery and discipline. While arithmetic or logic may feature in some contexts, primary focus remains on religious texts, shaping students' cognitive development around linguistic intelligence. Modern secular schools represent a departure from religiously influenced educational systems. These institutions embrace a broader curriculum, integrating knowledge across sciences, mathematics, and arts, devoid of a singular religious focus. Shifts from clerical instruction to state-employed teaching professionals emphasize intellectual credentials over moral standing. Modern secular education has faced critical examination, with scholars questioning its influence and effectiveness. Critics argue that it often prioritizes certain intellects, like logical mathematical, over artistic or interpersonal skills, sometimes at the expense of holistic development. Literacy is more than just reading and writing. It alters thought processes, enhancing abstract thinking and symbolic reasoning. In literate societies, individuals navigate language and information with a precision unknown in oral cultures. Literacy opens channels for indirect communication and new relationships, fostering self-understanding and broad social interactions. However, literacy's transformative power is tempered by how it integrates with schooling. The Sino-Liberian study by Michael Cole and colleagues reveals that even high literacy levels don't automatically produce broader cognitive shifts. Rather, it's literacy within educational frameworks that catalyzes deeper changes. Science fundamentally reshapes ways of thinking by combining empirical data collection with theoretical frameworks. This mode of reasoning, distinct from mythological or spiritual explanations, remains open to adaptation in light of new evidence. As educational systems worldwide evolve, the challenge emerges to balance preserving traditional skills with embracing modern educational advancements. The transition from traditional learning forms, like the personalized knowledge of artists or navigators, to standardized schooling involves trade-offs, potentially sidelining vital cultural skills. Each intelligence form, whether bodily, spatial, or interpersonal, retains value, contributing to a holistic understanding of human capabilities. Moving forward, societies face the task of innovating educational practices that celebrate and cultivate diverse intelligences while also preparing individuals for dynamically evolving global realities. The Suzuki method, emerging from Japan, highlights the potential of young children under its structured musical regime. This education model emphasizes the natural capacity of children to learn through imitation and repetition. Global discussions involving institutions such as the Club of Rome advocate for innovative learning solutions that cater to unique contextual needs. Examples from countries like Venezuela underscore how educational reforms can tap into human intelligence's universal potential. Understanding the complexities of language evolution further indicates the importance of this in educational strategies. Studies highlighting the significance of the brain's left hemisphere, the adaptive nature of language processing in aphasics, and the resilient language development seen in deaf children spotlight the brain's remarkable flexibility and evolution. Contributions from pioneers like Chomsky and Gardner enrich our understanding of language's emergence and cognitive adaptability following brain damage. The concept of multiple intelligences reveals a mosaic of human capabilities awaiting cultivation through education. Individuals possess various intellectual strengths, including spatial, musical, and logical mathematical abilities. Artistic capabilities bridge cognitive science and creativity, shedding light on the brain's resiliency and adaptability. Studies reveal how brain damage can uniquely impact faculties like musical ability, yet allow certain creative skills to remain intact. This interplay tells a story of the brain's capacity to adapt, offering promise for nurture-based creative development in educational settings. Persistent critiques of traditional education highlight the need to adapt models in alignment with understanding cognitive diversity. The document underscores the influence of culture in shaping learning methods and intelligence. Global examples, from Freire's literacy campaigns to Sesame Street, illustrate the necessity of aligning education with cultural and motivational contexts. This includes reassessing schooling structures to support multiple intelligences, moving beyond one-size-fits-all systems. A shift towards personalized, culturally compatible educational strategies can better nourish individual potential, fostering a learning environment conducive to diverse intellectual and creative expressions. Technology's potential in education is vast, presenting opportunities to model cognition and personalize learning experiences. The text stresses computers' role in supporting varied educational methodologies by adapting to different intellectual strengths and preferred learning styles. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence finds new relevance as the text explores its impact on learning and cognitive development. The intricate link between physical expression, such as dance, and cognitive processes is examined through evolutionary perspectives. Educational methodologies leveraging kinesthetic learning can facilitate deeper engagement and retention, benefiting students who thrive through physical interaction. These insights call for an educational transformation that recognizes the significance of active learning styles. Educational diversity emerges as a vital theme, with culture serving as both a foundation and a catalyst for learning. By exploring diverse educational practices, the narrative offers a glimpse into how culture can influence educational approaches. This examination highlights how reaching out to students' cultural backgrounds enhances learning outcomes. Emphasis on cultural narratives underscores education's role in respecting and celebrating diversity, promoting an inclusive approach that values varied educational heritages. Echoing globally shared criticisms, the text challenges conventional schooling models, advocating adaptation to cognitive diversity and contemporary needs. Embracing multiple intelligences over rigid IQ metrics suggests an educational shift toward a more holistic assessment of potential. By integrating these perspectives into curricula, schools can better nurture diverse talent and creativity, ultimately fostering a broader understanding of intelligence. The exploration of educational methodologies illustrates a move towards personalized learning experiences, shaping an educational future that is inclusive, innovation-driven, and attuned to the rich array of human capabilities. Integrating these diverse perspectives into curricula, schools can nurture a broader understanding of intelligence, fostering creativity and holistic development. As we look to the future, education stands at a pivotal juncture, poised to embrace innovation and inclusivity. By understanding and harnessing the diverse intelligences within each learner, we pave the way for not just academic success, but also a richer, more adaptable approach to life's challenges. This is the promise of a future where education celebrates the full spectrum of human potential.